This is the 411. Your host, Matt Mike.
And welcome to another edition of the 411. I'm your host, Matt Micah. College football is getting crazier every single week. A lot of teams are losing, a lot of teams are falling, and we'll see those teams will emerge to that college football playoff, those four top teams. Who are they going to be? Obviously, number one and number two right now, Mississippi State and Florida State. No questions asked right there. Both undefeated. So you got to give the nod to those two teams for the two top spots. Then the next two is a toss-up. Who's it going to be? Let's talk about Ohio State. Those Buckeyes. They had an embarrassing loss in the beginning of the year to Virginia Tech, but that's when they lost their Heisman Trophy quarterback. They lost, their leader, their go-to guy, and in Braxton Miller. But then here comes Barrett, and he's having a phenomenal year. So you wonder, the new quarterback, kind of change of the guard. The offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders at the beginning of the year, and Virginia Tech exploited that, and they took advantage of that. But now they get better every single week, and Urban Meyer has this team on a roll, and they dominated a great Michigan State team in East Lansing. Let's not forget about that. It was at Michigan State. It wasn't at the Horseshoe. It was in Michigan State at East Lansing, and they dominated them. They exploited that defense. This defense is supposed to be one of the best in the country, and Ohio State ran all over them. And Barrett, he had a field day passing all over that defense. He just torched them. So Ohio State having a one loss on their resume to a very subpar team, yes, in some eyes, that's going to hold them back. But let's talk about the eye test. They have a very good shot to make that playoff, because what they did against Michigan State proves why they're one of the best teams in college football. Now, let's see what happens to them for the rest of the year. Say they win out, and their biggest challenge is going to be Nebraska, most likely, in the Big Ten championship game. They had to also get past Michigan. Now, again, Michigan is borderline pathetic as of right now, and Ohio State and Urban Meyer has their number. But you wonder, that's going to be a rivalry game. It's the best rivalry game in college football, no questions about it. So you wonder, Michigan, they're going to take advantage of that, and they're going to be hyped up and ready to go. You hope they would be, because then that will be even a better win for Ohio State. But at the same time, Michigan, again, like I said, they're borderline pathetic, and it's embarrassing that the Big Blue are like that right now, because if they're a good team, it's just better for college football. That's better for the Big Ten. But that's another conversation for another day. Let's get back to Ohio State. Say they get past Michigan, they beat them big. They have a field day against Michigan like they did against Michigan State. Then they go to the Big Ten championship game and have a huge win, supposedly against Nebraska if it shakes up that way. They have a very deserving shot and reason and resume to be in that college football playoff. But then again, that's why we have some experts, examining this, because you have Baylor, you have TCU, you have Oregon, you have Arizona State. Arizona State had a huge victory against Notre Dame. That's why college football is so great. So we'll see what happens, but I think that Ohio State will probably sneak in there towards the end of the year and get into that college football playoff. I'm Matt Mike on the 411. See you tomorrow.